My name is Johnsrud. Not many people know me by that. It's J, just the initial J is what I go by. I'm a native of Albert Lea. I'm 86 years old. I'll be 87 years old next week. I'm in fair health. I was in business in Albert Lea for a number of years. I was in business when I got drafted in Albert Lea with my brother in the agricultural implement business. And when I got out of the service, I went back into that business and continued on, and then done other things in my life, and just trying to stay alive, playing a lot of golf as much as I possibly can, fighting cancer. I've been fighting cancer for 25 years, and I'm doing it again now, and I'll get more treatment next month. So that isn't what happened to my hair, however. I wore that out. but I've had a pretty good life, married, and wife is in a rest home at this particular time, and had 3 children. They're all married children, so forth. So I don't have many complaints. My score would be a little better on the golf course. It would be help. But other than that, pretty much a native here of Albert Lea. I traveled for a number of farm equipment manufacturers for a number of years, like 35 years. So I lost a lot of friends in the community at that time, because if they didn't see me at church or the golf course, they wouldn't see me. So that's about it, I guess.
And how many siblings did you have?
We had 3 children, and brothers and sisters were 3 brothers and a sister, and they all passed away young. My parents passed away, my dad passed away young, and my mother lived to be 92. And hopefully I got some of her genes in me, but I've lived well past all the rest of my family.
And were any of your other siblings in the military?
Were they in the military? My 2 brothers were in the military, World War II. One was in the first draft that left Albert Lea for World War II. Coincidentally, I was in the first draft for the Korean War that left Albert Lea. So anyway, during World War II, I had to leave school, high school, finish 9th grade, but my father got ill, and I had to go into the business with him. So my business career started at a pretty young age. People say they go to school and get their doctor's degree. Well, I went to school and got the degree in the School of Hard Knocks. So, but it was fun.
So how old were you when you were drafted?
22 years old.
And what was that date?
In 1950. Got drafted and went to Kansas, Fort Riley, Kansas, where we had our basic training in for a couple months, and then went to Korea.
What date did you head over to Korea?
What date did I go to Korea? It was in the spring of 1951. I think probably March. And that was an experience. Went on a troop ship. It was for 3,500 people. Well, coincidentally, we had 5,000 troops on that ship, and it was full, way to the bottom. And you'd go down there on your hands and knees and crawl over and get a place to lay down if you went down there. I spent most of the time on deck. It was not a very good experience. We had 19 days getting from Seattle to Yokohama. That was quite a trip.
Do you remember what ship that was?
No. I didn't give a damn what ship it was. It was a troop ship carrier for 3,500, and with 5,000 of us on there, it was crowded. And that's one of the things I can remember. Yeah. And we got to Yokohama, and they put us on a train, and we went down through Japan, went through where they dropped the atomic bombs, Nagasaki, and so.
What did that look like?
Oh, just level. and it was bad. That was about the time we recognized the fact we were going to be in war, and they put us on another ship and Sasebo, I guess it was, and went to Busan, and they dumped us off. And we had a couple of days of bayonet training, hand-to-hand combat on the beach, and away we went to fight. And, went up the island and got up to 38th parallel, captured that, and, just the way it was. One battle after another. Yeah.
What unit were you a part of?
Well, I got assigned to the 24th Infantry and the 21st Regiment, and I was assigned to the INR platoon in that regimental headquarters. INR, Intelligence and Reconnaissance. I always said it sure didn't take much intelligence to be in the reconnaissance. So that's where I spent about 9 months with that, and, going up and down the island, and different assignments and so forth.
What did your duties look like?
What did what?
What were your duties?
My duties? Kill people. We were fighting a battle. We were fighting a war. That's your duty. We had to keep contact with different people, different outfits. But that was it. I was glad to get relieved. After about 9 months with that, I got relieved and went back into special services, and that was a good assignment. Finished out the duration over there, and then we rotated to Japan and were replaced man for man with a California National Guard. And we took their place in Japan, which incidentally was Sendai, where the atomic blast was, from the earthquake. And we were there for 30 days and then come back to the States. Got assigned to Fort McCoy or Camp McCoy in Wisconsin. And my duty was to play baseball. Well, I wasn't good enough to play with them guys because they were all professional baseball players on that team. And they said, well, what can you do? And I said, well, I play a lot of golf. Okay, you can run the driving range. So for 3 months, I run the driving range at Camp McCoy, and then got discharged and come back home and went back into this business with my brother. Yeah.
So can you describe more for me? What does reconnaissance do?
What is reconnaissance? Okay, we would make contact with all the battalions and make sure that everybody was on right communications, or if they wanted contact with somebody, we'd go out and make contact with the enemy, see where they were at, and visualize, try to see how many there were, and so forth, and if they were preparing to strike. And, that was it. Contact with the South Korean Army. I spent a couple of weeks with them one time. And, that was kind of interesting. I couldn't understand them. They couldn't understand me. So, but that was it.
Can you tell me more about what was that like with the language barrier?
Well, I finally got a Korean that spoke English, and he got assigned to them, and then we would rotate back and forth in our unit to who would stay over there and who wouldn't, and that's how that went. Just watch them to make sure that they weren't turning against us. That's hard to remember all that, but it was fun. It was. If you had to be there, it wasn't too bad. And I was fortunate. The weather-wise was pretty bad over there. Winter was cold. I got transferred back to special service before the winter of '51. So I had it pretty warm, but it was really cold, miserable.
Can you tell me about some of your memories while you were there?
I try to forget them. The good memories probably come back, bad memories and Just try to forget them. There were not a lot of them, but no. War is not fun when you're shooting at each other. I guess one I could tell you, I was with the Hawaiian group they were Hawaiians that came into Korea, first ones in. And I got into that. That was what I got assigned there. They were very good soldiers. I learned a lot in a short time from them. And remember one night we were doing battle and we had to dig a foxhole. And this Hawaiian boy, it wasn't a boy, but a Hawaiian guy, he helped us and he said, save your ration cans, we'll tie them together with a string and we'll string them between our foxholes. I said, why do you want to do that? He said, we'll know when the Koreans go through, the North Koreans or Chinese or whatever they were. We had another name for them. But anyway, when we hear them rattle, we know they went through. Well, we didn't sleep, but pretty soon the tin cans rattled. And we were in a battle. They had overrun us, and it was a tough battle that time. But,
where was that at?
That was up around the 38th parallel someplace. When I was there, they didn't have those fancy names for the hills and all that stuff. They were just a hill. Yeah, but that was one of the times I do remember distinctly. Foxhole was pretty shallow for a couple of guys. Yeah. I don't know. But there were a lot of experiences, yeah.
So can you tell me some of the places that you moved between?
The names of the places?
Yeah, location-wise, where did you travel to and from?
I came in at Pusan, and that's when they broke out of the Pusan perimeter, and we went north and up to the 38th parallel. I can't remember the names of any towns or anything. We went through the capital, of course, Seoul, Incheon, and liberated them from the North Koreans and the Chinese. And, other than that, no, I don't remember that. We just kept on the go. Yeah.
What kind of friendships or camaraderie did you form during your time?
Well, we were pretty close I think there were 24 of us in that reconnaissance or intelligence company, and we were all close. But of course, they started leaving because they had been there from the beginning, and then there come in some replacements, and but I never have seen any of them. The one gentleman, I'll call him a gentleman, that I went in the service with, and we got back together in Korea, and I used to see him all the time. He's passed away now. But, we were good friends. Went in together. Our serial numbers were one number apart. Went through our basic and went to Korea together, and got split up over there. And then we got back together about 9 months later, and then stayed together the remainder of our service, which was pretty fortunate. Yeah.
So when you switched to Special Forces, what caused that switch?
Well, I was pretty fortunate. In fact, I was real fortunate. This friend that I'm telling you about that we went in together, he got in there. He had rotated back in there. And I seen him, and he said, well, I can tell you the story. We were up in the 38th parallel, and we looked out down the hill, and here comes a Jeep. And we thought, what in the heck is a guy in a Jeep doing, coming, And we got the glasses out, and got the glass on. He was my friend. And so I grabbed my rifle and went down the hill to meet him. And I said, what in the world are you doing here? That wasn't a very safe place to be. And he said, well, how would you like to come back to Special Service? And I said, what do you mean? He says, you can come back to Special Service because one of the guys are leaving, and the captain says you can come back. And I said, I'll have to talk to you don't talk to anybody. He says, you get in my Jeep right now and we go back. He says, you don't tell anybody. Well, I had thought about it for about 2 seconds and jumped in, and away we went. And when we got back there, why, the captain was talking with the colonel and told him my name and stuff. He said, "Well, I'm transferred back here." And they gave a little hassle. There's a lot of other guys that were just as eligible as I to get a transfer like that. And they argued for a little bit, and finally the captain hung up the phone and he says, "You're transferred down here. Go back and get your little things that you might have and come on back. You're assigned to me." That was lucky. That was very lucky. Our duty was, this friend of mine we were in charge of all the rations for 3,600 people. And we'd have to go back to Incheon and get truckloads of stuff, and particularly beer. So we had some beer to drink, and we had to ration it out all to 3,600 men. And that's what we done. When we got transferred to Japan and up to Sendai, we were in charge of the recreational programs up there at the base for a couple months. And I came home.
Can you tell me some memories that you have of your time in special services?
Well, mine weren't so good, but the special services would take care of any movie actors or anybody that would come to Korea. They would be in charge of taking care of them, but there wasn't any during my time in there. But it was a good duty. It was good duty. I had a warm tent to sleep in, and it was mighty cold. And we had a number of Korean youngsters assigned to us, I think 10 or 15, that would be kind of guards for us. And that was good duty. It's good duty. If you had to be in a war zone, that was an awful good duty. Yeah.
How did you keep in touch with family or friends back home?
Well, I didn't have much contact. I wasn't much of a letter writer. My mother, I wrote with her, but that was it. That was it. Get a letter from her once in a while. I'd write to her once in a while, but I didn't have any loved one back here that I was in contact with. Yeah. But that was kind of a, okay. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. And the fellows that we took our basic training with in Kansas, I got some good friends out of that, and did contact them and have contacted them through the years. Not many, but 2 or 3, and they've all passed away now. But that's kind of the way it goes. Yes. Time takes care of us. Yeah. We would just hope we're ready for the maker. Yeah. Yeah. But the war, it was worth, I would sacrifice again. I went with the ideas. I love this country. I love what we got, and would fight for it, and had 2 brothers that fought for it, so it wasn't any question that I would go in the military when my time come. And I've never regretted it.
So what was the date that you rotated home?
Oh, it was in the spring of 1952. We were in Korea for a year, and in Japan for a month or so. So it was March, April of 52 that we got home, and then discharged in August. Not much activity from when we got back to when we had discharged. Running a driving range, hitting some golf balls, picking them up, but that was it.
What was your reception like when you got home?
Yeah, I guess okay. It was no big deal. We just no parade or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. No. Well, Korean War is kind of a forgotten war, and It was miserable war, like all wars. And didn't say much about it. Went about my business, and that was it. Drank too much. That was one thing. I got hooked on liquor when I was in the service. And, had it freely for us. And smoking, I didn't smoke. They gave us cigarettes, so I started smoking and smoked like that, and have suffered from some of it. Had to go for treatment for alcoholism, and I know that I had a lot of bad dreams about war and alcohol and so forth. But I got rid of the disease of alcoholism. I guess I got rid of it. It's been 48 years that I've been sober. Haven't had anything to drink, no pills or anything like that. So that was probably a good thing. But other than that, I've had a lot of problems with nightmares and stuff from service, and going through the same stuff. But I've been good for a while. Probably I'll have them again now if we talk about it. But I don't like to talk much about it because it isn't nice. No.
When you were in the special services, where were you stationed?
Well, at that particular time, it was pretty much, the 38th parallel was pretty much stationary. So we were right there at the 38th parallel. And there wasn't an awful lot of fighting going on. There was a demilitarized zone that there would be a battle in there once in a while. But that's where we were at. We were right behind the forward line.
And what unit was that a part of?
That was part of the 24th Infantry, or 21st Regiment. Yeah, that was all part of the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. People liked us. we had control, you know. The GIs have got a way about getting to you, you know. That's why we had all those guards guarding our beer. Yeah. We would go with 6 trucks and go to Incheon and pick up the beer rations. So there'd be 6 of these big trucks full of beer. Well, they would see these convoys of trucks, and the GIs would know, you know, what was going on. That's why we had to have these Korean kids in the trucks guarding them on our way back. Once in a while, GI would get up there and get a case of beer or something. That's, you know, that was kind of interesting. They had to guard the beer. Yeah. No, it was nothing exciting. Just doing our thing. Yeah. Staying lucky.
Why is the Korean War called the Forgotten War?
Well, it's a good question. I don't know why that is. I can't answer that, but you don't hear much about it. When we came back, like you asked before, there was no hooray or hurrah or, you know, anything like that. Come back and just melted right into the flow of the people and our businesses or whatever we were doing, and continued on. And most everybody knew that they were going to serve in the service after World War II. You know, we just barely missed that draft, and when the Korean draft came, why, we were ready to go. Ready or not, let's put it that way. Yeah. So anyway, that was just the way it was, and I guess we got the fighting done mostly, and it kind of quieted down, and I guess just kind of forgot about it, you know.
Where were you when the armistice was signed?
Oh, I was home. I think the armistice was signed in 53, and I was home in, early 52. So it was quite a while then after we had left that they signed that.
And how did you feel when you heard the news?
Oh, I was good, you know. It was a nasty war. You know, a lot of prisoners, a lot of guys wounded, shot, killed. You know, it was nasty. One of the things that I do remember, when I first got there in the spring, it was just starting to warm up. And here come a truckload of, which I looked like fence posts, and they were bodies, frozen bodies, you know, of our GIs that they were picking up from North Korea and so forth, where they had been overrun and finally got to them. And we've seen a lot of that, a lot of frozen bodies. Oh, that was kind of shocking, you know, to say the least.
How did that feel to witness that?
Oh, it was a bad feeling. You know, just, you know, hey, this is serious stuff, you know. Yeah. And we got overrun, maybe I did say that, by the North Koreans, and maybe they were Chinese. They overrun us, and then we done that. It was hand-to-hand combat. I was fortunate I didn't really get into the hand-to-hand, but a couple of my buddies did. And we took a lot of prisoners, killed a lot of people. Killed a lot of people. We got a special award for that. I can't remember what it was, but some kind of a unit citation. And we were 6 of us. They wanted to give us silver stars, and we turned them down. We said, we can't take them unless you get them to everybody, which there were 24 of us. And they said, no, just you 6 guys. And, well, we didn't take them. Should have. Too late smart, too old dumb. Yeah. Or too soon dumb, too old. But anyway, that was the way that went. But all in all, I was very lucky. And just really glad that it got over with, and so far so good. Might happen again, who knows? Yeah.
What did you know about Korea before you went?
Not much. Got our draft notices and go to the physical and so forth, and everybody said, well, you're going to go to Korea, just make sure you pay attention to the training. And I don't know if I did or not, but anyway, we knew we were going to there, Korea. Yeah, that was it. Going to do battle there. And I can't think of much else I knew about Korea, other than the fact that it was damn cold. Yeah, everybody told us that was really cold over there. It was like Minnesota, like here. I think the 38th parallel runs right pretty close to here. So you know what the weather's like, yeah.
So how did that feel to go through basic, knowing where you were heading?
Well, you kind of get your things in order. We came home after basic for a little while, 30 days maybe. And in that period of time, we were told, get your things in order, in which I did. You know, I had the business that I was involved in and had to take care of that. But I did that mostly before I got drafted. So I had pretty much things in order. So, but you didn't feel like you were going to come home, you know.
What are some life lessons that you feel like you learned from your military service?
Don't volunteer. Why am I here? I realize that you don't volunteer. If you got to do something, do it, but don't volunteer. And that's kind of stuck with me. I haven't volunteered for very much. I've done a lot of public help or public relations and helping a lot of people, but I don't volunteer.
What message would you like to leave for future generations?
Well, this is a wonderful country. There are opportunities galore if you want to go after them, but you have to pay the price. And part of being in the military is part of the price you have to pay. We got to protect our country. Our home country is important. There isn't any other place like it. So my message to young people, when you get out of high school, get in the military. Take 2 years of your life, spend in the military. You owe it to the country. And when you get back out, it'll be a lot better country than what you think it is. I'm certainly glad I went in the military. I've received some pension in the latter years from some of that life that I had, I guess, and so I have no complaints about that. And I get good benefits from the VA. I go to the VA hospital and clinics, and if I need anything, it's always available, it seems like. So I'm just, pretty fortunate and pretty happy and pretty proud to be an American.